Okay, on buyer activity, the longer it's on the market, the less it's worth. NAR's got some statistics. Never figured out how you do that. How do you prove a negative? It's really hard to do, and nobody's ever satisfactorily explained it. They do have statistics, and I believe them, because you can certainly see the results of something that's been on the market for 500 days versus 30 days, list versus sale price. And that's your first. The other thing, you know, don't get caught up with the seller talking about what, well, wait a minute, this thing's only 10% off, or 5% off or something, when it's been on with 3 different agents, you know, and it started out at 700,000 and finally got sold at 500,000. They need to understand that that has an impact. Agents tend to gloss over the ones that they've been looking at for the last year and a half. And they don't even care about what the price is today, because they know it was overpriced. First offer is generally the best offer. I can't tell you how many times that's been the case. I mean, maybe once in, you know, in a blue moon we'll get one that's not the case, but every time I've had it, it's been the case by a large margin in a lot of cases. Okay, and then the old adage, if you're getting quite a few showings but no offer, your price is off a little bit. You know, and you know, depending on what it is, somewhere between 2 and 5%. If you're getting few showings, that means not very many, none at all. You know, then you're off substantially. And 5 to 10, and you have to use your own judgment as to what that might be. Or if you already have that conversation with people, they demand that you have a look at that other. Okay, once you get an offer, you respond, Larry, you respond to all offers. I can cite, and I will, as a matter of fact. I had a situation 4 or 5 years ago over in Shine. It was the property I talked about where the lady compared it to the properties that were on the market to establish the market value. Started out at $1 million. She reduced it later to $899,000. I came into my market analysis and said it needed to be under $800,000, so we listed it for $799,000. It was on the market one day and we got an offer for $650,000. Now, Mr. Seller was a Marine. Still had a lot of Marine traits. And I thought he was either going to hit me or rip it up, one or the other. I took it away from him real fast and said, no, we're gonna respond. Because you don't know what they're doing. You know, they're probably just fishing, but we don't know that. Let's find out. So I said, so what do you want to counter this at? He says, let's counter back at $797,500. So I gave him $2,499 off the list price. We sent it back to the agent, and they signed it around. We closed in 3 weeks, and everybody, my sellers were very happy. And I guarantee you they wouldn't have been happy and had that somehow realized that they'd thrown away that differential. So you never know. You never know. That happened to me my very first waterfront sale. Kid was a fireman down in Silverdale, and he came in and offered some ridiculous price. And in this particular case, I was the one who was going to throw it at him, because he was a part-time real estate agent as well. And my seller said, no, we'll respond back. He did. And he accepted it. It was there to this day. Okay, so we respond to all. And I try and point out to the seller that a clean offer has more value than a complicated offer. First of all, because if it's complicated, the buyer is looking, or he's protecting his out. He's usually not terribly committed to it, unless there's some legitimate reasons why it would be a complex offer. Complex offers are just that many more hurdles to get through. And as a consequence, if there's a slight monetary difference between a clean and a complex, and you were in a multi-offer situation, take the clean one. It's a no-brainer to take it. Well, not always, but generally it's a no-brainer to take cash over financing. Okay. Reiterate the first offer rule. In mutual agreement, I explain what that is and what their responsibilities are from that point forward, and what the buyer's responsibilities are, and then off to closing. And I'm absolutely amazed in this day and age, and there's so much information out there, that the sellers think that the day they sign is the closing date. And if you happen to have that conversation with them, they're going to ask you, signature date plus 4 hours, where's my check? You know, and how come I got to be out this day? Whatever. But, so, that's it.
Thank you, Terry. Now, on your pieces of paper, the notes, you have 7 habits in there. Did you guys get all the 7 habits?
No, there were 75.
There's 75. So, I chose to write Terry's because sometimes as you're asked to write down or think about things for you, it's hard to write them down for yourself. So in this case, I use the opportunity to help Terry out and write down what I observe in him that I think makes him successful. So here are the 7 habits that Terry has that you too can emulate that might make you a better broker. He shows up early. He doesn't show up early just to read the paper and drink coffee. He shows up early to work on his business. He's always prepared. When he goes to, you can tell when he's getting ready to meet with buyers or when he's got a listing presentation because smoke's coming out of his office. He's back there focused, getting ready. In fact, I would say 9 times out of 10, Terry is over-prepared. He is there ready to answer any question or any objection that comes up by the client. He's a student of the market, which means he's studying the numbers every day. He's looking at what's happening in the market. He's following up. Let's say he does a listing today and he doesn't get a listing presentation. Terry's the guy that will be following that listing to find out what it was finally listed at and what it finally sold at, because he wants to know. He wants to get better. In addition to just being a student of the market, he has the ability to take the information and turn it into a story, because not everybody is a numbers guy like Terry. Terry gets excited when he sees a graph. Some people don't. As a result, he needs to know how to, and he's good at, turning that graph into a story. Here's what it means for your house right now today. Number 4, knows the inventory. And he knows the inventory, number 1, the easiest way is by going on tour every week. He knows the inventory by talking with other brokers. He calls them, he asks them questions. Tell me about that listing. What did it have? What didn't it have? Why do you think it sold so much? Why do you think it sold so low? So he knows the inventory. He invests in his business. So number 5 is he invests in his business. He's probably got one of the most wild programs when it comes to marketing. And like every other business, he's had to reel it in a little bit, but he didn't stop spending. Even though the market got bad, he didn't stop reinvesting in his business in all the different advertising and marketing that he does. Number 6 is he employs technology to be in more place than just one. If it's just you out there talking, you can only be in one place at one time. But he employs websites, now blogs, Facebook, which means he's out there in all these different formats for people to stumble across, to find, and then to reference. Terry practices, projects integrity. He practices and projects integrity. So what does integrity mean? It means he's always doing his best. He knows when he goes to a listing presentation, he's put his all in. He brings it all to the table. He brings intensity, he brings his full intent, he brings it all to the table. And he's also the first to admit when he's done something wrong. If he's dropped the ball, he steps up to the line, he admits he made the mistake, and then he offers suggestions on how to fix it. And I've seen him do that several times over the past few months. Step up, get it figured out. That's practicing and projecting integrity. And number 8, this is a bonus item, no extra charge. Number 8 is rarely does he let a phone call go to voicemail. He's on the call. So, thank you for coming to Success Club today. Terry.
One thing on knowing the inventory. I can't tell you the number of times, and it's particularly true if you're in a neighborhood where the sellers have all seen the interiors of all of the competition, both those that are on the market and those that sold. So they know it as well or better than you're going to know it, just by proximity and the fact that we've done this locally and check. And I've been asked, well, what did you think of this house or that house? If I hadn't seen it on tour, I'd be caught a little short in terms of being able to offer that explanation. I don't know how other agents who haven't seen the inventory, and I'm haven't seen the inventory can go head-to-head with another agent. Now, it's one thing to go in and get the listing and find your outcome done, and you didn't compete against another agent. But when you're in competition with another agent, if you haven't seen the inventory and they have, you're at a huge disadvantage right off the bat. Because they can start talking specifics, and while specifics may not sell the property, it'll sell the seller that they know what they're talking about.